Young historian, it is November, and this is time where we're not only getting resources for NHD, but we also need to be starting to take notes. To do that, though, we need to develop some subtopics or buckets and some research questions. That's why I did the King Cotton activity. All right, that's what the whole purpose of it was, to get you guys to understand how you can organize yourself by developing some buckets or some subtopics and then some questions within them, and then that's what should drive your notes. Because if not, you're just sitting around taking notes, throwing them on pieces of paper, and that's kind of hard. So, as you can see on the screen, you can head to NHD Google Classroom. I've got buckets, subtopics, and research questions for you. I've got two setups for you. I got a Google Slides where you can do subtopics and research questions, and then also I've got as a Google Doc as well. So, I mean, you can use whichever one that you feel is the best for you. No matter what, you're going to put your names on it down here, or your name, whatever your NHD topic is, and then start thinking about how you're going to take your notes. So you're going to take them on paper, you're going to take them on index cards, you're going to take them on Google Slides, are you going to take it on Google Docs, are you going to take your notes on Noodle Tools? All those are open. You can do it in a spiral, you can do it on a legal page, you can do it, you name it, pieces of paper, whatever. But you want to be consistent and you want to be organized, and that's what these buckets and research questions are going to do for you. So if you look at my example here, here's my example of subtopics and research questions. All right, let's say that I am doing the March on Milwaukee. That is that's the topic that I've been talking about these marches for civil rights and for fair housing that happened in Milwaukee in the 1960s. So I would take my notes handwritten because that's the way I like to do it. That's kind of how I roll when it comes to it. There's benefits and negatives, but I've always just done that. So what I would do, though, to start taking my notes, though, is I need my subtopics, and I made my subtopics, and my subtopics might be a little different than your subtopics, but some of them are going to be totally the same. Everybody is going to do context. You have to have context. That's part of the NHD project, all right? And that's my first one, just civil rights in Milwaukee in the 1950s, okay? Then I always like to look at things as, I've got an event. My event is the marches on Milwaukee, so my next bucket is going to be what were the causes of the marches? What led up to the marches? Then I'm going to investigate the marches themselves. I'm going to look at how people reacted to the marches, because you do need to have different perspectives on your topic. That's part of the NHD process as well. It's part of the rubric. I want to know what was the impact of the marches then, and then what is the legacy of the marches today? How do we remember them today? What impact do they have today? Why do the marches matter? Okay? For each bucket, you want to have, you're going to have a thesis statement eventually, but we're not doing that now. We got to wait till we do our research. So for each bucket, as you can see here, you're going to have a general question. That's sort of like your general overview question of that bucket. I need to find out what was the political and social situation in Milwaukee in the 1960s. That's my general question. Then I've got some more specific questions to help me answer that general question. How was Milwaukee segregated? What did redlining and restrictive covenants do to the black population? How were Milwaukeeans, especially black citizens, reacting to the national civil rights movement? All right, that sets the stage for the marches. And then I go and find resources and I try to answer these questions. It just helps me to know that if I get this huge, big resource, I use the index or I scan through it. But if I'm not answering my questions, then I probably don't need to take those notes on it. Then I'm going to go the causes or leading up to the marches, my big overview question. What factors led to the March on Milwaukee? Like, how did this thing happen? Then I'm going to ask some specific questions. What are some leaders? What actions did they take? I might even ask, what did they say? Primary sources. What were members of the Milwaukee NAACP saying about their rights and their responsibilities? I got to make that an of there. Hold on just a second. What actions did activists take? Had they taken before? Had they done any activities before that set the stage for this? And then what was the short-term spark? Was there anything that really was sort of like, all right, because of this, now we're doing it? Everything that leads up to the marches. That's going to be a bucket. That's going to be a section of my website, or it's going to be one section of my paper, or it's going to be sort of like a chapter of my documentary, or part of the script from, one portion of the script from my performance, or it could be an entire part of my exhibit, one section. Then we've got the actual marches. Notice again, I have the up top, I've got the major question, the general question, and then on the bottom, I've got the specific questions. Reactions to the marches. What did people say on the positive side, on the negative side, opposition, support, anything like that? And also, did the marches get national coverage? And then the impact. What happened as a result of the March on Milwaukee? And finally, what's the legacy of the March on Milwaukee today? These slides are also available on our NHD classroom if you're taking a look at them. This video is going to be available here too. So over the next couple weeks, you and a partner if you choose, if you have one, you're going to want to start thinking about those subtopics and those questions because, again, that's what drives your research. I hope you understood that and experienced that from the King Cotton activity. All right. And this will really make everything a lot easier for you, especially because my suggestion is going to be when you take notes, instantly put them into a bucket. You can color code them, or you can, if you're doing slides, you can move them around, or index cards, you can put like a little notation on them. For King Cotton, we identified the buckets after the fact. For this, let's do it before the fact, or while we're doing it. It just makes it a whole lot easier. Sound good? So get going on that. If you're struggling with coming up with buckets, come see me. Let's have lunch. I'll buy.